We should obey to Mupani in a project because other we say.
Asema isi enrano obia ayoko nipa ewu niema asei naba na hu ya isi wa enya semketwa na sede coordinator kan no enya hankwa na isi you know bibre na nipa bibre na aba kan and I make us a mint in a fear. Miss Maba, my papa who they see it, and my chicken more. Now, my mamma shedding. Now, we did a Ghana for a problem. Into just saying, you know, a kaboom. Now, yet me who acquire ever faso, and Masadi and Babu. Into you know, ever kaboom. I yes, argument. Say mudi bibi etu enim nipa bi omuni eduane ndipo omuni atade enhye mini ebai obewo la oko hospital problems no dos meso meye ade kakra meso metimi aye aboamo na meso my country aban say omoso embremu na omobebwa me sure say omobeba na we dey serious pa na if you say yeah state of emergency mpo a declare state of emergency na yemfa we nyina embeye na maye mu nyina na yemishira mu na me de nyame ebeja mu nyina me de muaso ebeba na ebema me da mu ase.
Ghana is still counting on its losses. And we fear that what we know today is only a fraction of what we will still come to learn in the days ahead. To the families who have lost loved ones, to those keeping vigil beside hospital beds, not knowing whether their relatives will recover, to the traders and artisans and ordinary working Ghanaians who have lost everything they spent a lifetime building. We, the MPP minority, feel your pain. We are your neighbors, your relatives, your constituent too, and your grief is our grief. We hold you in our prayers tonight and in the days to come. But our compassion does not end with words of comfort. We make this solemn promise to every Ghanaian touched by this tragedy. We, the mighty minority, will use every tool of accountability available to us, both within this house and beyond it, to ensure that those whose negligence contributed to this disaster answer for it. Your losses deserve more than sympathy. It deserves justice. and the minority will not rest until you have it. Now, let me go back to the task force that existed on paper and on paper alone. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, last year, His Excellency the President announced the establishment of an anti-flood task force, specifically charged with preparing the capital for the rainy season, chaired by his Deputy Chief of Staff in charge of operations, Mr. Stan Jose Dogwe. The public was assured that lessons had been learned and that the year will be different. Yesterday's flooding is the clearest evidence that this task force produced no meaningful intervention on the ground. If serious drainage works, the silting or flood mitigation infrastructure had been undertaken, the impact of the rains, however heavy, would have been measurably reduced. Instead, entire neighborhoods went underwater, exposing the gap between government rhetoric and government delivery. Now we see a pattern, not an accident. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, this was not the first flooding incident of the year. Weeks earlier, significant parts of Accra were already inundated at a time when the president was out of the country on an official visit that took him through the United Kingdom and Belarus. On his return, rather than point to work already completed by the task force, the president called for a fresh presentation and mapping of affected areas. The government that had genuinely prepared for the rains would not need to commission a new assessment after the damage had already been done. The need for an after-the-fact presentation is itself an admission that no adequate plan existed beforehand. Sanitation policy without a plan. We note that this government has announced a sanitation policy without a plan. Compounding the crisis is the government's decision not to renew waste management contracts with some contractors, following concerns raised about the term of these contracts. The minority does not dispute that public purse must be protected from poorly structured agreements. However, terminating or declining to renew a major waste collection arrangement without first putting in place credible alternatives has consequences. In the resulting vacuum, informal and unregulated waste collectors, commonly referred to as Bawumia operators, have proliferated, and there is documented video evidence of such operators dumping refuse directly into gutters and drains. Blocked drainage systems are a direct and significant contributor to urban flooding. A government cannot dismantle a sanitation system without securing its replacement, then act surprised when the resulting refuse chokes the city's drains. Rainfall is not an excuse for the absence of a plan. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, the president stated yesterday that approximately 140 millimeters of rain fell on Accra, compared to a higher single-day figure of about 56 millimeters recorded last year, and argued that this is, quote, beyond our control, end quote, while pointing instead to human behavior, including structured builds in waterways. The minority does not dispute that rainfall intensity is a climate reality outside government's control. But that is precisely why preparedness matters most in years of extreme rainfall, not least in them. A competent administration plans for the worst case scenario, not the average one. Ghana's meteorological agencies issue seasonal forecasts every year, and a task force was specifically constituted months ago to prepare the capital for exactly this kind of event. If, by the government's own admission, human encroachment on waterways is a known and long-standing contributor to flooding, then a task force that had been doing a job would have addressed that risk well before the rains arrived, not have it cited today as an explanation after the damage is done. The president cannot simultaneously claim that human behavior drove this disaster and that this government bears no responsibility for failing to act on a risk it knew about and was specifically tasked to manage. Now we need accountability. Government must account to the people and not give excuses.
Tragedy, and this is a tragedy for all of Ghana. It isn't a tragedy just for Accra or here in Oceana English Mampo. It is a tragedy for all of Ghana. And the flooding, as we have seen, has caused a lot of damage. We've lost lives. In fact, as I have arrived here, I'm told that there is a dead body that has yet to be picked up. We are calling on the authorities, NADMO and the police to come together and make sure that the dead body is picked up. It's really unbelievable that it hasn't been done since yesterday. And I plead with the police and NADMO to come together to pick up this dead body, and I think that is just something that has to be done without anything. But I think that at the end of the day, I want Ghanaians, all of us, to come together. I don't want what is happening to break down into a partisan battle amongst the parties. There's a real issue of flooding facing Greater Accra region. And that issue is something that requires immediate and urgent solutions. And I think that is where we should focus on. How do we solve the problem? We shouldn't get into blame games. We should focus on how we can quickly solve the problems. What is worrying for me is that the forecasts are forecasts of even more rain to come. And if this is going to be more rain, I believe that the government could also consider even declaring a state of emergency, so that we deal with this in that particular format, that a state of emergency is declared, because this is a real big problem for this country, and we have to put all our energies, all our talents, all the engineers, all the hydrologists, we have to bring everybody together, regardless of party. But this is for Ghana, and let us do it for Ghana. Let us come together for Ghana and solve this problem for our country.
Individuals were displaced, 363 households. We didn't have any missing or dead person. Ga West, equally, we didn't lose anybody and nobody got missing. But the number of persons that were displaced were 2,300 and then 460 households. Ablekuma North, 651 displaced, 131 households, no missing or dead person. Ablekuma, Nungo Pram Pram, 1,377 displaced, 276 households. Wejabawe, 2,500 households, 2,500 individuals, 500 households. Ga South, 2,100 displaced, 420 households. Adenta, 1,850, 370 households. Kolekote, 6,500 displaced, amounting to 1,300 households. Okankwe South, 701 displaced, 141 households. Okankwe North, 2,620, and then 524 households. Tema West, we had 690 households displaced with 3,450 individuals displaced. Tema Metropolitan Assembly, we have 721 households displaced, which affected 3,601 individuals. In the case of Tema West, we had 3 persons that lost their life. La Dade Kotopong, we had 404 households displaced, amounting to 2,020 individuals. And lastly, Mr. Speaker, Krowo, we had 220 households displaced and 1,100 individuals displaced without any death. Mr. Speaker, when you put all these numbers together, we have a total of 7,761 households that were displaced, with 38,802 individuals affected, with 7 persons still missing as of this morning, because, Mr. Speaker, I've been at the Finance Committee in the past 3 hours. I've not been able to read my briefs this afternoon. I don't know whether many more have been found, but 7 people as of this morning were displaced, and the total death are 12 individuals that were